Hello and welcome to this month's Object Talk. My name's Adam. I'm the Senior Collections Engagement Manager here at the Jewish Museum London. And my job's great. I get to look after around 40,000 items that really show the diversity of Jewish life, from the religious aspects right through to the social and working history. These could be individual objects, they could be artwork, they could be oral histories, or they could be photographs. And today I'm actually going to be sharing a photograph with you. When I first came across it, I didn't really think too much of it. It was only when I found a second object that was connected to the photo that I suddenly went down this rabbit hole of discovery. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. So let me share the screen and we can take a look at it. So here it is. You may be thinking what I did. It's a fancy looking dinner, a fancy venue, and that's exactly what this is. It's the dinner, or the venue rather, is the Savoy Hotel in London, and the dinner is the ORT OZE appeal dinner that took place on the 28th of October 1930, so 92 years ago. Now, a little bit about ORT OZE. ORT stands for the Organisation for Rehabilitation Through Training, although in truth, it actually stands for three Russian words, which my pronunciation of Russian is terrible, so I won't even attempt to say that. However, in February 1880, one man, Samuel Polyakov, he was a railroad builder, and he petitioned Tsar Alexander II, asking for the authority to create a fund for Jewish people in need. Now, this was granted about a month later, and this is really seen as the foundation for ORT, who are still in existence today. And what they did was encourage the training of Jews in trades, crafts, and agriculture. And this started in Russia, but soon spread throughout the world. And by the middle of the 20th century, ORT was considered the largest voluntary organization in the world, with its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, a few decades later, in 1912, OZE, O-Z-E, was set up, and this translates into the English roughly as the Society for the Protection of the Health of Jews. Now, what OZE tried to do was both curative and preventative measures to combat illness and sickness, and really promote physical fitness and healthy living conditions, healthy living styles, and healthy well-being. Again, like ORT, it starts in Russia, but then after the First World War, it expands into Central and Western Europe. And then after the Second World War, it's set up in South America, in Israel, and Africa. So it spreads quite far. Now, let's have a look at this dinner in its own right. And what I love about this is that I always love these photographs to see what people are dressed up as, and love the tuxedos, love the ladies' dinner dresses. The wine hasn't been poured yet, but I'm sure it would have been good. I think the bread rolls are on the table, so always nice to see a photograph like this. However, if you are hosting a dinner, the host is often a key important figure. And in this case, it was none other than the president of ORT at the time, who was the Right Honourable Lord Lionel Walter Rothschild. And here he is. And as you may or may not know, Rothschild was a man of many things: a banker, politician, he was a zoologist, and he was also a soldier. And from 1925 to 26, he was president of the Board of Deputies, and he played a really significant part in the establishment of the State of Israel, helping to sign the Balfour Declaration. Now, to the right of Rothschild is the guest of honor for the evening. This whole dinner was really in honor of Professor Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein was also from a secular Jewish family. And it's Einstein who played a really important role in bringing Jewish scientists out of Germany prior to World War II. Now, there's another guest of honor, or a guest speaker, I should say, who is tasked with saying a speech about Einstein. And this is none other than the Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw. Now, he took this task really seriously. usually Shaw didn't make any written notes before delivering any speeches, but on this occasion, his secretary is quoted as saying that he asked her to type up his notes in advance so he could study them. And admittedly, he didn't use them on the night, but it shows you the importance that he felt about delivering the speech correctly. On the night, he did wear a kippah in respect to the Jewish people attending, and it was a black kippah, which is said to have contrasted really nicely with his grey-white beard. He also cracked several jokes, and if you search for George Bernard Shaw tribute to Professor Einstein or Albert Einstein, you can watch a bit of this on YouTube or other video channels. And one of the jokes he cracks is that Ptolemy created a universe which lasted 1400 years. Newton created a universe which lasted 300 years. But Albert Einstein, he's created a universe and he has no idea how long this one will last. And when he says this and delivers this, the whole audience burst into laughter. Now, there are other guests at this dinner. Next to Einstein, on the other side, is the author H.G. Wells. Next to Bernard Shaw is the chief rabbi, Rabbi Hertz. And there's also this man, who's Sir Frank Dyson. And Dyson is the astronomer royal. And his connection to Einstein is really important because in 1919, his observations of the solar eclipse led to the evidence for Einstein's theory of general relativity. So really strong connection there. And one other person who attends this dinner is connected to the Jewish Museum, sort of. Redcliffe Salomon is perhaps well known for being the husband of Nina Salomon, but he's important in his own right. He's a really important botanist whose studies into potato breeding really developed that field. And both Redcliffe's and Nina's portraits hang in the Jewish Museum on our stairwell as you approach our history gallery. So if you do visit, be sure to check those out. Unfortunately, Nina died 5 years before this dinner took place, so she's obviously not at this dinner. So why was I so interested in this picture? Not only for the guests, but also because we can pretty much name everybody in the picture. And the reason we can do that is because we have the table plan and the guest list. Now, just to prove that I wasn't making things up, here's the plan of the tables. And the top table, we can name each of the individuals from Einstein, Charles Shaw, etc. But we can also pretty much figure out who's sitting where at each of the other tables. So even if you didn't want your photograph to be taken, like this lady here, we can still narrow it down to the table names relating, in this case, to table 16. And if you did turn up and your name wasn't on the guest list, didn't matter, because if your name wasn't listed, you could still sit at table 47 to enjoy the dinner, which I really love about this table plan and guest list. So always nice to share our collections, and I hope you enjoy this photograph as much as I did or do. And please join us for next month. Thank you.